The annual exchange of holiday gifts is not merely a tradition. It is a sociological experiment designed to test the limits of human patience and the elasticity of fake smiles. Every December, millions of people partake in a ritualistic exchange of insults wrapped in glossy paper, offering items that range from mildly confusing to biologically hazardous. But some gifts transcend bad taste. They become legends of disappointment. In this dossier, we are not looking at the thoughtful failures. We are examining the evidence. So, pour a drink, lower your expectations, and let's open the case files on the 50 most catastrophic gifts ever exchanged in the history of human folly. 1. The canned chicken horror. There are culinary mistakes, and then there are crimes against nature sealed in tin. The whole canned chicken is the latter. When opened, this bird does not emerge. It slides out in a gelatinous, trembling cylinder, coated in a viscous goo that defies the laws of physics and appetite. It looks less like dinner and more like a biological sample smuggled out of a confidential government lab. To gift this is to force the recipient into an involuntary autopsy procedure in their own kitchen. The sheer sound of the chicken exiting the can, a wet, defeated slurp, is a noise that haunts the soul long after the holidays have ended. It represents a total abandonment of culinary joy, replacing the warmth of a roast with the cold, slimy reality of industrial preservation. 2. The Nicolas Cage Mania pillow. Imagine drifting into a peaceful slumber, only to wake up and find your face inches away from the magnified, manic eyes of a national treasure. This sequined pillowcase, featuring a close-up of Nicolas Cage in full erratic expression, transforms a bedroom into a psychological thriller. It is not home decor, it is an interrogation technique. The gift implies that your sanctuary was too calm, too safe, and desperately needed the intense, unblinking gaze of an actor known for stealing the Declaration of Independence. It's a presence that watches you sleep, judging your dreams with the intensity of 1,000 burning suns. This isn't a comfort item. It is a one-way ticket to nightly terrors and a constant reminder that privacy is an illusion. 3. The biological warfare possum. In the annals of gift-giving, few things verify a vendetta quite like a live, angry marsupial. Gifting a live possum in a box is not a prank. It is an act of domestic terrorism. The moment the bow is untied, the living room transforms from a scene of festive joy into a low-budget survival horror film. You aren't giving a pet. You are donating chaos, property damage, and a frantic call to animal control. It represents the utter collapse of social contracts. While a puppy suggests responsibility and love, a possum hissing from beneath the Christmas tree suggests that the giver holds a deep, festering hatred for your upholstery and your peace of mind. It is a gift that screams, "I want you to suffer, and I want it to be furry." 4. The jar of celebrity air. Capitalism occasionally collapses into self-parody, and the sealed jar of authentic air is its nadir. Whether it claims to be from the Rocky Mountains or exhaled by a B-list celebrity, the reality is stark. You have purchased a vacuum. This gift is a masterclass in the emperor's new clothes, designed for the person who values branding over existence. Handing someone a jar of nothingness is a bold philosophical statement on the futility of material goods, or perhaps just a sign that you have more money than brain cells. It sits on the shelf, invisible and arrogant, a monument to consumer gullibility. It forces the recipient to defend a jar of empty space to guess, turning them into an accomplice in this grand, atmospheric con. 5. The taxidermy squirrel saxophonist. There is a specific kind of silence that falls over a room when a dead rodent playing a jazz instrument is unwrapped. This taxidermy squirrel, frozen in an eternal solo, is not mere decor. It is a macabre fusion of death and smooth jazz. It stares from the mantelpiece with glassy eyes, a permanent reminder of mortality and terrible taste. This gift suggests that the giver walked into an antique shop, saw a creature that once chattered in the trees, and thought, "You know what this corpse needs? A brass instrument." It is a conversation starter, certainly, but the conversation is almost exclusively, "Why is this in your house? And is it cursed?" The answer to both is yes. 6. The Ford Pinto Hubcaps. Strategic miscalculation reaches new heights with a pristine set of hubcaps for a car known primarily for exploding, the Ford Pinto. This becomes tragic when the recipient drives a Toyota Camry. This gift is a bureaucratic nightmare in physical form. It requires the recipient to either purchase a notoriously dangerous vintage vehicle to make use of the gift, or accept that they now own useless metal discs. It is a stunning display of irrelevance, like buying a saddle for a goldfish. It highlights a profound disconnect between the giver and the recipient's reality, suggesting that the giver has not looked at a single detail of your life, including your car, since 1978. It is less a gift and more a burden of scrap metal. 7. The digital bathroom scale. Nothing says happy holidays quite like a device calibrated to judge your gravitational pull. Gifting a digital scale is a declaration of war wrapped in festive paper. It bypasses subtlety and goes straight for the jugular of insecurity, effectively saying, I cherish you, but I would cherish you significantly more if there was quantifiably less of you. Unless the recipient is a prizefighter cutting weight for a title bout, this is an insult powered by old AA batteries. It transforms the season of indulgence, of cookies, gravy, and joy, into a season of shame and mathematics. It is a cold, glass-surfaced indictment of every mince pie eaten, sitting on the bathroom floor like a silent, judgmental monolith. 8. The used deodorant stick. We move now from the insulting to the biohazardous. Unwrapping a half-used stick of Old Spice, complete with stray hairs embedded in the drying gel, is a moment that scars the psyche. This goes beyond the concept of regifting and enters the realm of hygiene violation. It suggests that the giver not only forgot to buy a gift, but also raided their own bathroom cabinet in a panic, deciding that their personal scent was a legacy worth passing down. It is a fragrant slap in the face. The message here is confusing and repulsive. I want you to smell better, but I'm only willing to invest the remaining 40% of this stick to make it happen. It is the ultimate gesture of disrespect. 9. The diet water enigma. Science, logic, and basic hydration weep at the existence of diet water. This product, a real artifact of marketing delusion, implies that regular water, a substance with 0 calories, was somehow contributing to your weight gain. Gifting this is an insult to the recipient's intelligence. It suggests that they are the demographics for whom low-fat ice would be a viable product. It represents the commodification of anxiety, bottling the fear of calories into a product that is chemically identical to tap water, but costs $3 more. Unwrapping a case of this is not a refreshing experience. It is a realization that the giver thinks you are gullible enough to believe that water needs a diet plan. 10. The DVD rewinder. For the technophobe in your life, the DVD rewinder stands as a monument to obsolescence and confusion. This device, a spinning plastic tray that serves absolutely no purpose for digital media, is a practical joke that costs $20. It spins the disc, yes, but to what end? It is a machine designed to solve a problem that vanished with the VCR. Giving this to someone is a test of their understanding of the modern world. If they use it, tragedy. If they leave it in the box, it becomes a paperweight of shame. It is the technological equivalent of a solar-powered flashlight, a tool that fundamentally misunderstands the physics of the medium it is supposed to serve. 11. The pre-feast diet book. Timing is everything in comedy and cruelty. Handing someone a diet book on Christmas morning, hours before the turkey is carved, is a tactical nuclear strike on their joy. It sits on the coffee table, a glossy, passive-aggressive sniper, taking shots at every ladle of gravy and every slice of pie. This is not a helpful suggestion for the new year. It is a preamble to guilt. It transforms the holiday feast from a celebration into a calorie-counting negotiation. The giver is essentially saying, go ahead, eat the stuffing, but read Chapter 4 while you do it so you know exactly how much self-loathing is required. It is a masterclass in ruining the mood before breakfast has even been served. 12. The hermit crab responsibility. A hermit crab occupies a strange emotional limbo. Not cuddly enough to be a pet, yet too alive to be ignored. Gifting one is handing someone a chore in a shell. It is the gift of unexpected maintenance. Checking humidity levels, buying specialized sand, and wondering if the creature inside is dead or just molting. It forces the recipient into the role of a crustacean landlord, a job title they never applied for. Unlike a dog, it offers no affection. Unlike a fish, it's rarely visible. It is a stress-inducing box of dirt that sits in the corner, a silent demand for attention that offers absolutely nothing in return except the eventual, sad task of disposal. 13. The Klingon language tapes. When you give someone a Learn to Speak Klingon audio cassette set, you are investing in their social isolation. This gift is a tool to ensure the recipient communicates with fewer humans, not more. It is an educational journey into a language useful in exactly 0 countries on Earth. Unless the recipient is planning a diplomatic mission to the neutral zone, unlikely given they probably work in accounting, this is useless. It says, I see your lack of social skills and I want to accelerate your descent into complete solitude. Quapla to their dating life, because that is dead now. It's a niche hobby weaponized into a lifestyle sentence of eternal virginity. 14. The block of unflavored tofu. Behold the culinary equivalent of a beige wall, a single shrink-wrapped block of firm, unflavored tofu. This is not a food item, it is a project. It requires pressing, marinating, seasoning, and praying before it becomes edible. Gifting this is a statement of profound indifference mixed with a vague health lecture. It whispers, I think you should eat better, but I'm not going to give you anything that actually tastes good. It sits under the tree, a dense, wet brick of potential disappointment. It lacks the festivity of chocolate or the utility of wine. It is simply a block of condensed soy waiting to suck the joy out of a meal. It is a chore wrapped in plastic. 15. The solar-powered headlamp. Engineering paradoxes rarely make good gifts, and the solar-powered headlamp is the king of useless innovation. This device only charges when exposed to bright, direct sunlight, precisely the condition in which a headlamp is completely unnecessary. By the time it is dark enough to use, the battery is dead. It requires the user to plan their darkness requirements hours in advance, leaving the lamp in the sun like a lizard. It is less a tool for exploration and more a philosophical riddle about the futility of renewable energy when applied to nocturnal activities. Giving this suggests you want your loved one to be stranded in a cave, furiously clicking a switch that will never, ever work. 16. The USB Pet Rock. Taking the nihilism of the 1970s Pet Rock and dragging it into the digital age, we find the USB Pet Rock. When plugged into a computer, it does absolutely nothing. It does not store data. It does not glow. It draws a minuscule amount of currency to exist, silently mocking the very concept of technological progress. It is a peripheral of pure despair. It occupies a valuable USB port that could be used for a printer or a mouse, offering only the silent judgment of a stone in return. This gift is a commentary on electronic waste, a piece of plastic and mineral that exists solely to clutter a desk, and remind the user that technology cannot fill the void in their soul. 17. The one-color jigsaw puzzle. A 5,000-piece puzzle is a challenge. A 5,000-piece puzzle that is entirely solid blue is a mental health crisis in a box. This is not a relaxing pastime for a snowy afternoon. It is a simulation of purgatory. Every piece looks identical. There are no patterns, no landmarks, only the endless, maddening void of a single hue. Giving this to someone is an act of sadism. It is a gift designed to break the human spirit, forcing the recipient to question their vision, their patience, and their will to live. It usually ends not with a completed picture, but with the puzzle being swept violently into the trash can amidst tears of frustration. It is a breakdown wrapped in cardboard. 18. The Snuggie for Two. The Snuggie was already a questionable fashion choice, but the Snuggie for Two is a codependency nightmare. This fleece blanket with 4 sleeves surgically attaches you to another human being, rendering independent movement impossible. It is the perfect gift for couples who find the concept of personal space offensive. Good luck trying to reach for the popcorn or go to the bathroom without negotiating a treaty with your Siamese twin partner. It forces a level of intimacy that borders on parasitic. It is a garment that says, "We are no longer individuals. We are a single immobile organism made of cheap polyester." It is the fabric embodiment of a relationship with no boundaries. 19. The shoe umbrellas. In the pantheon of solutions to problems that do not exist, shoe umbrellas stand tall. These tiny, ridiculous canopies clip onto footwear, ostensibly to keep the toes dry while the rest of the shoe, and the human attached to it, gets soaked. Wearing these in public is a cry for help. It signals to the world that you have prioritized the dryness of your toe caps above your dignity. They are flimsy, they trip you up, and they look like something a clown would wear to a funeral. Gifting these is an act of public humiliation. It ensures that the recipient will be pointed at and laughed at by strangers, turning a rainy day walk into a parade of shame. 20. The winter unicorn float. Context is everything. An enormous, glitter-filled unicorn pool float is a triumph of summer fun in July. Gifted in December to a resident of Buffalo, New York can spark a deep seasonal depression. Unwrapping this giant inflatable beast while a blizzard rages outside is a cruel reminder of how far away warmth truly is. It will not see water for 6 months. Instead, it will sit in the garage, a deflated plastic carcass of joy, gathering dust and reminding the owner of the frozen wasteland they inhabit. It is a gift out of time, a taunt from the gods of summer laughing at your frost-bitten reality. It is an optimistic purchase that lands with a frozen thud. 21. The garage-scented candle. Most candles aim for lavender fields or vanilla bean. This abomination aims for illegal engine swap. Smelling less like home comfort and more like an EPA violation, the garage-scented candle fills your living room with the aggressive aroma of gasoline, old tires, and motor oil. It is designed for the person who wants their home to smell like a mechanic shop that is actively on fire. Lighting this doesn't set a romantic mood. It triggers the smoke alarm and makes guests wonder if there is a carbon monoxide leak. It is home fragrance for people who hate their home and wish they were inhaling carcinogens in a poorly ventilated shed. 22. The canned bread cylinder. There is a special place in the culinary abyss for bread that slides out of a can. It emerges as a damp, brown cylinder, looking less like a baked good and more like a geological core sample taken from a bog. It defies the texture of bread, possessing a squishy density that is deeply unsettling to the touch. Gifting this says, "I want you to have toast, but I want the experience to be vaguely medical." It is survival food for a disaster that hasn't happened yet, presented as a treat. Eating it feels like a failure of civilization. It is a gift that requires the recipient to suppress their natural survival instincts just to take a bite. 23. The spray-on hair aerosol. For the man whose hairline is retreating, a can of spray-on hair is not a solution. It is an insult in an aerosol can. It covers the scalp in a substance that resembles matte black spray paint or crushed shoe polish. It does not look like hair. It looks like a desperate shadow. This gift forces the recipient to walk through life in Terraria, fearing that a sudden rainstorm or a strong gust of wind will cause their hair to run down their forehead in inky streaks of shame. It is a precarious vanity, a temporary disguise that fools no one and stains everything. Giving this is a way of saying, we all see the bald spot, and we think paint is the answer. 24. The singing wallfish. The big-mouthed billy bass is the gift that transforms a peaceful home into a house of horrors. Mounted on a plaque, this rubber fish lies in wait, triggered by a motion sensor to flail its head and belt out, "Take me to the river for the 800th time." It is a unique form of psychological torture. The first time, it is a novelty. The 10th time, it is annoying. By the 50th activation, caused by simply walking to the kitchen for water, it becomes a nemesis. It is the gift of auditory assault, a plastic demon that interrupts conversations and sanity alike. It turns the hallway into a minefield of bad audio. 25. The pre-peeled orange. Encased in a plastic clamshell sits a single naked orange. This gift represents the absolute pinnacle of human laziness and environmental failure. Nature already provided the orange with a perfect biodegradable wrapper, the peel. By removing it and placing the fruit in plastic, The manufacturer has created a solution for a problem that only the most fragile humans possess: the inability to peel fruit. Gifting this implies that you view the recipient as a toddler with zero motor skills. It says, "I care about your vitamin C intake, but I assume you are too incompetent to handle the complex mechanics of rind removal." It is a dystopic convenience. 26. The Wi-Fi Salt Shaker. We live in an era where everything must be connected to the internet, including your sodium. The Wi-Fi-enabled smart salt shaker pairs with an app to track your salt intake, adding a layer of surveillance to the simple act of seasoning eggs. It also plays music and boasts mood lighting, because obviously your table setting needs a disco mode. Gifting this is an indictment of the recipient's ability to eat without data analytics. It transforms dinner into a monitored event, where a glitch in the Wi-Fi means your food remains bland. It is the Internet of Things gone mad, a solution looking for a problem, turning a $2 kitchen staple into a $100 anxiety device. 27. The Electric Twirling Spaghetti Fork. This is a marvel of engineering dedicated to the laziest impulse in the human brain. The motorized fork spins at the touch of a button, winding spaghetti so you don't have to rotate your wrist. It is the perfect gift for someone you believe lacks the fundamental musculoskeletal strength to eat pasta correctly. The motor is loud, the spin is often too fast, flinging sauce onto shirts, and the battery compartment makes the handle comically heavy. It is a gadget that complicates a simple process, a symbol of giving up on basic human functions. It suggests that the caloric energy saved by not turning your wrist is worth the dignity lost by eating with a power tool. 28. The Live Christmas Lobster. Giving someone a live lobster is not giving them dinner, it is giving them a roommate with claws. You are handing them a creature that needs to live in their bathtub until the moment of execution. The recipient must look this crustacean in the eye, name it, and then boil it alive. It is a moral crisis with a ticking clock. The apartment fills with the smell of the ocean, the bathroom is occupied by an angry invertebrate, and the festive mood is replaced by the grim reality of being an executioner. It is a splashy, high-stakes burden that turns the recipient's home into a temporary aquarium of death. 29. The Fake Lottery Ticket. There is a special circle in hell reserved for people who gift fake scratch-off tickets. The recipient scratches, sees 3 matching symbols, and believes, for one glorious, heart-stopping moment, that their financial struggles are over. They scream, they cry, they mentally quit their jobs. And then, the punchline: read the fine print. It's a prank that runs the human emotional spectrum from euphoria to devastating despair in 10 seconds. It is cruel, unnecessary, and a great way to get punched at a family gathering. You aren't giving a joke. You are giving the feeling of losing $1 million. It is the emotional equivalent of a rug pull on the jagged edge of hope. 30. The Pet Rock Funeral Kit. If the Pet Rock was absurd, the funeral kit is morbidly existential. For when your geological companion inevitably passes on, gets lost, or you get bored, this kit provides a tiny coffin and a eulogy booklet. It allows you to mourn an object that was never alive to begin with. It is a theater of grief for a mineral. Gifting this suggests that the recipient's emotional landscape is so barren that they need to role-play loss with a stone. It is deeply pointless, turning the concept of mourning into a kitschy joke. It sits on the shelf, a reminder of a funeral for a pebble, marking the death of reason itself. 31. The Framed Photo of the Giver. Narcissism finds its physical form in the gift of a framed photo of yourself. There is nothing that screams, "I am the main character of your life," quite like this. It is the ultimate power move. It tells the recipient, "Your home is nice, but it lacks the critical element of my face staring at you constantly." It is a burden of display. The recipient is forced to place it on a shelf out of guilt, creating a shrine to your ego. It is not a memory shared between 2 people. It is a billboard for one. It reduces friendship to a fan club, with the giver as the idol and the recipient as the unwilling keeper of the shrine. 32. The Bag of Uncooked Lentils. A 5-pound bag of dry lentils is not a gift. It is a pantry burden. Unless the recipient is a doomsday prepper stocking a bunker for the apocalypse, this is just heavy, beige guilt. It sits on the shelf, judging you. It demands to be soaked, seasoned, and cooked for hours, a culinary commitment that no one asked for. It is the kind of present that lingers for years, moving from apartment to apartment until the bag eventually disintegrates. It represents sustenance without joy, utility without flavor. It is the dry, dusty antithesis of a treat, a gift that says, I spent $4 in the bulk aisle and now this is your problem. 33. The jar of pickled pig's feet. This is not food. This is a biological specimen in a jar. A gallon of pickled trotters is a gelatinous family heirloom that no one has the courage to eat or throw away. It sits in the back of the pantry, a pink, fleshy threat. It is a dare suspended in vinegar. Giving this implies that you view the recipient as a 19th century longshoreman with a cast iron stomach. It is a culinary artifact that brings a visceral horror to the kitchen. Guests will see it and ask questions you cannot answer. It serves no purpose other than to occupy space and remind everyone that, technically, feet are edible, though they shouldn't necessarily be. 34. The Toilet Activity Book. 50 Things to Do on the Toilet is a book that proudly acknowledges the least glamorous aspect of human existence. By gifting this, you are effectively saying, I know exactly what you do in there, and am worried you're bored. It is a bizarre invasion of privacy wrapped in toilet humor. It reduces the recipient to their biological functions, turning their bathroom time into a supervised activity hour. It is a thoughtful boredom buster, perhaps, but one that carries the stench of overfamiliarity. It dissolves the mystique of the individual, replacing it with Sudoku puzzles meant to be solved with one's pants around their ankles. 35. The Gold-Plated Toilet Paper Holder. For the person who demands opulence in their most vulnerable moments, we have the gold-plated toilet paper holder. This is a bizarre flex. It brings the aesthetic of a dictator's palace into the average suburban bathroom. It suggests that even while performing basic waste elimination, one must be surrounded by the trappings of wealth. It is ridiculous, flashy, and inevitably clashes with the cheap linoleum. It is a gift that says, I want your bathroom to look like it belongs to a rapper from 2004. It highlights the absurdity of luxury, proving that no amount of gold plating can dignify the role's purpose. 36. The Single Sock. Not a pair, just one. A single, solitary sock. Unwrapping this is a descent into confusion. Is it a mistake? Is the other one hidden? Is it a metaphor for loneliness? It feels like a threat from a washing machine mafia, a warning to the other socks in the drawer to stay in line. It renders the item useless immediately. It is a piece of fabric that can only serve as a puppet or a rag. It is a gift that creates a deficit. The recipient now has a problem to solve, finding a match rather than a possession to enjoy. It is deep fabric-based chaos. 37. The Pet Rock Leash. For the pet rock owner who worries their motionless stone might bolt into traffic, there is the leash. It is a string for a rock. Walking a rock around the neighborhood is the behavior of a person who is snapped. It is the perfect solution to a problem that never existed for a pet that was never alive. It allows you to drag a mineral across the pavement, creating a scratching sound that annoys neighbors and worries local dogs. It is an accessory for insanity. It suggests that the giver supports your delusions and wants to help you parade them in public. 38. The How to Win Friends book. Dale Carnegie's classic book is a bestseller, but as a gift, it is a weapon. It is a strongly worded performance review from your own family. Unwrapping this is like hearing, we've all noticed you have the social skills of a startled raccoon, and we'd like to see some improvement in Q1. It is the most passive-aggressive way to call someone unlikable. It turns the holiday into an intervention. The book sits there implying that your personality is a fixer-upper project. It is not a tool for self-improvement. It is a hardcover insult that suggests your current version is simply not making the cut. 39. The High-End Tie Rack for the Hoodie Guy. Nothing highlights a lack of observation quite like gifting a mahogany tie rack to a man who has exclusively worn hoodies since 2003. This is a gift for a fictional version of the recipient. a corporate executive who exists only in the giver's mind. For the actual recipient, it is a useless wooden skeleton. It will sit in the closet, holding nothing, a dusty monument to the fact that the giver has never once looked at what the recipient is wearing. It asks the recipient to change their entire identity to justify the storage solution. It is a gift that says, "I wish you were a lawyer." 40. The Industrial Tub of Mayonnaise. A 5-gallon bucket of mayonnaise is not a condiment. It is a lifestyle commitment. It is a creamy white albatross that occupies the entire middle shelf of the refrigerator. It dares you to make 10,000 egg salad sandwiches before the expiration date. It is a terrifying amount of emulsion. The sheer caloric density of the bucket is enough to power a small village. Opening it feels like staring into the abyss, and the abyss stares back, shaking slightly. It is a gift that suggests the recipient has given up on health and is ready to embrace a slippery, high-fat future. It is a culinary threat in a bucket. 41. The 1,000 Disposable Forks. Somewhere between a prank and a cry for help lies the bulk box of plastic forks. Gifting this implies that the recipient has completely abandoned the concept of dishwashing and is living a life of pure, unadulterated laziness and environmental destruction. It suggests their kitchen is a zone of despair where metal cutlery goes to die. It is a depressing supply drop for a bachelor pad that has lost the will to live. It is convenience weaponized into shame. Here, the gift says, "Eat your dinner and leave no trace, for you are not responsible enough to own a dishwasher." 42. The Looping Fireplace DVD. In the age of 4K streaming and YouTube, a physical DVD of a burning log is a fossil. It is the technological equivalent of handing someone a rock and telling them it's a heater. It provides the visual of warmth with none of the heat, creating a cognitive dissonance that chills the room. It forces the recipient to find a DVD player, a challenge in itself, just to turn their television into a fake fire. It is a reminder of a simpler, stupider time. It is the perfect gift for someone you believe is easily amused by repetitive, pixelated flames and lacks the ability to just look up a fireplace video online for free. 43. The 1980s Celebrity Exercise VHS. Neon leotards, synth pop, hair that defies gravity. This gift is a time capsule of sweat and regret. Giving a vintage aerobics tape is a double insult. First, it implies the recipient needs to exercise. Second, it implies they should do so using the obsolete methods of a C-list celebrity from 40 years ago. It requires a VCR to use, adding a layer of technical impossibility to the physical exhaustion. It is a gift that mocks the recipient's fitness level while forcing them to confront the terrifying fashion choices of the Reagan administration. It is a workout for the body and a confusing history lesson for the eyes. 44. The 3D wolf head sweater. This is not just an ugly Christmas sweater, it is an aggressive lifestyle statement. A sweater featuring a 3D protruding wolf head, complete with glass eyes and synthetic fur, is a garment for the lone alpha of the party. It says, "I will not be approached for a hug." It is fashion designed to repel. The snout sticks out from the chest, invading the personal space of anyone the wearer talks to. Gifting this is an act of sabotage, ensuring the recipient will look insane in every holiday photo. It transforms them into a walking werewolf transformation scene that got stuck halfway. 45. The socks with attached sandals. Fashion faux pas are usually mistakes. This gift makes them mandatory. Socks with sandal soles sewn onto them remove all choice and dignity, forcing the wearer into a permanent state of German tourist. It is a life sentence of bad style. It suggests that the recipient has given up on sexual appeal entirely and is now prioritizing ventilation and warmth in a confusing, hideous hybrid. It is comfortable, perhaps, in the way that giving up on life is comfortable. It is a visual repellent, a garment that ensures no one will ever look at the wearer's feet without shuddering. 46. The Pre-Owned Mattress. The ultimate violation of boundaries is the unsolicited gift of a used mattress. It arrives with the faint, haunting outline of a stranger's body and a map of mysterious stains. This is not a gift, it is a biohazard. It is a piece of evidence from a crime scene you haven't discovered yet. It brings the DNA, sweat, and secrets of another human into your sanctuary. The audacity required to drag a used bed into someone's home and call it a present is staggering. It forces the recipient to deal with disposal, hygiene fears, and the deep, unsettling knowledge that they are sleeping on a sponge of someone else's history. 47. The Screaming Goat Figurine. For the office worker who values peace, this toy is an act of war. A plastic goat that lets out a blood-curdling human scream when pressed is a machine designed to destroy focus. It is funny for exactly 4 seconds. For the rest of its lifespan, it is a nuisance. Gifting this is a way of ensuring the recipient is hated by every single one of their coworkers. It turns their desk into a noise pollution center. It is a gift of pure distraction, a button that converts productivity into annoyance with a high-pitched bleat that pierces the soul. 48. The Emergency Potato Chip. Ideally, a break-in case of emergency box contains something vital: a key, cash, a chocolate bar. This gift contains a single stale potato chip. It is a masterpiece of anti-climax. It builds tension with the glass case and the red hammer, promising a reward for a desperate moment. But the reward is salt and disappointment. It is a joke about scarcity that lands with a crunch. It mocks the concept of preparedness. It is a monument to the underwhelming, sitting on the wall as a constant reminder that when the chips are down, you literally only have one. 49. The Friendship is the Gift Note. An exquisitely wrapped heavy box sits under the tree. The recipient shakes it. It feels substantial. They tear open the paper, open the lid, and find a smaller box. And inside that, a folded piece of paper reading, "The real gift is our friendship." This moves beyond a dumb gift and becomes emotional manipulation. It is the ultimate tease. It uses the visual language of generosity to deliver absolutely nothing. It is a way to save money while claiming the moral high ground. It leaves the recipient holding a piece of paper, trying to mask their rage with a smile, while inwardly calculating exactly how much that friendship is actually worth, apparently $0. 50. The Single Glow-in-the-Dark Star. Not a pack, just one. A single plastic star. Stick it on the ceiling, and it promises the majesty of the cosmos, but delivers only the loneliest constellation in the universe. It is a faint green speck in an endless void of plaster, much like the Christmas spirit of the person who gave it. It represents a universe with only one sun, a sad, solitary beacon of cheap phosphorescence. It is the perfect ending to our list, a gift that aims for the stars and misses by several light years, leaving the recipient staring up into the dark, wondering where it all went wrong. The Verdict. In the grand theater of human folly, these gifts serve as tangible proof that while it is the thought that counts, sometimes the thought was, "I barely know who you are," or worse, "I actively dislike you." They remind us that the holidays are a minefield of social obligations, where a possessed pillow or a jar of mayonnaise can detonate a relationship in seconds. If you have ever unwrapped something so absurd it made you question the fabric of your reality, we want to hear the evidence. Drop your worst disasters in the comments below. And remember, if you receive a live possum this year, just be grateful it wasn't the singing fish. Happy holidays and good luck returning everything.